Jamie here. Hope everyone is doing outstanding. August 30th, we got about 29 minutes to the close. Don't really have too much to talk about. I figured I should get on before the long holiday weekend. Don't forget, markets are closed Monday. And yeah, we'll call it Turnaround Friday. I don't know. I don't even know what you want, what you want to name it. I've been trying to name each day of the week this past week, but take a look at the S&P. If it closes right now, we will be down 12, 10, pretty much 0.12% for the week. So almost a little more upside here, and we'll close flat on the week. So not the most fun trading environment if you're trading calls or even puts, because all that does is kill premium, depending on obviously individual names that might have some news or catalyst. But if the market's melting to the upside, typically some of the names you might be in will go upside, follow in sympathy as well. 557 came all the way down, came close to breaking underneath that. I actually posted in the chat room. I was actually looking at possibly getting some ServiceNow puts or Lamb Research. Thankfully, the SPY at about 12:30 held that level and then bounced, and it's been, Pinto just posted in the chat room a boomerang. So good signs here. We'll see what happens next week. I keep saying that jobs report on Friday, I think, is probably, you know, the CPI data in June was supposedly the biggest CPI data in recent memory. This jobs report that's going to be out, for the August jobs number it's going to be heavily scrutinized. I'm sure there's going to be wild swings, regardless of even if it's a strong report or a weak report, and there'll be a lot of chest pounding over the weekend in regards to, hey, this is the market top. And I've been talking about this double top on the S&P, and it certainly, most people will say this in hindsight. So once we start selling off, say, oh yeah, it's a double top, it's confirmed. But for now, I still think the path of least resistance is to the upside, 565 or so from July 16th. I think that's the level. We hit that and break through, maybe there's a little more room to the upside, and then I'll be a little more cautious. Especially, you start looking, even if we have some pullbacks, the market's still doing well this year. So, and then we'll get into the fourth quarter, so on and so forth. If you take, yeah, what was it? It was down when I just put the charts two. So we have a 3 week in a row rally on the S&P after those fiasco with Japan and the Black Monday, I guess we want to call it. We'll see if we can close in the green for the week. That'd be nice. All right, so individual names. So I only made one trade. It's been one of those weeks where last week was great. Roku, Redfin. This week has been kind of some chop and some annoying moves, and especially in the overall market, but even underlying. So first, Clear Secure. So I added some more September strikes, and I keep looking to close the last of my September 29s. It's over $30 here. I think that's like a key threshold, and I talked about this morning on the rant. 20% short interest. When do these folks cover? Or maybe they're going to start to put more pressure on the stock. I don't think it's the latter, because the story has always been a huge growth story, huge, great fundamental story, throwing off free cash flow, special dividends, stock buybacks. I can go on, and then it's an addressable market that there's still a lot of opportunity for the company to grow. Lots of partnerships, lots of stakes. You have Delta Airlines, the NFL. I can go on a rant for a while for Clear, and it was just a matter of time where finally, I guess you could say the horse collar has been taken off the stock, and it's allowed to take off. And I guess some of it you would have to say is more people are excited about it. They're buying it, and so. Like it here over $30. I went and got the higher strikes of September's. I'll look to lock the rest of my September 29s, maybe before the close here in the next 20 minutes or sometime next week. And then I might start rolling out into October, because the more I start looking at it, it's tough because it's up quite a bit just over the last couple of weeks. So it's tough to say, hey, is it 40, 45, $50? But maybe before the year is out. So I might look for some strikes to play for that move. Dell, so disappointing here. I would say it's in the green, but I figured, considering what happened with its last earnings report, that it would recoup some of those losses. And I mean, it's still up 4% here. There are rumors that, let's see, why I'm going really slow here, that they're going to get added to the S&P 500. So Dell is the largest market cap company. I think it's an $83 billion market cap right now. That is not part of the S&P, and some of that rationale is because they're not allowed to add dual class structures to it. I don't know the whole backdrop to that, but uh, once it's added to it, you have to think, funds and all these other instruments are going to have to acquire the stock, and typically you see large moves when stocks are added to the S&P. Maybe that's going to happen. Who knows? But I don't think it needs a catalyst. It's just frustrating to see it chop around here. I figured it'd be over 120 today. Uh, my September strikes have been decimated, unfortunately, because the earnings premium have come out. But I'll continue to look for opportunities to play that one for upside. But real like Dell here, maybe some, it had like 9 or 10 sessions of consolidation, held the 200-day moving average of 50 days over at 120. If it breaks over 120, which I thought would happen today, I think it's blue skies. Probably going to have to wait till next week. So that's Dell. HPQ, solid session today on the heels of it's big move up from its earnings. Let's see, why can't I get this up here? Sorry, folks, I'm trying to pull my chart and it's not coming up here. Okay. Uh, you know, I said it this morning as well. I think 39 is coming. It hit 39 back at the end of May. That's probably the target here. It's not the most sexy name. It doesn't move the fastest. It's not one of those that has 3, 4, 5, 6% gains on intraday or large swings, which is good in a sense because the call premiums aren't high. But considering it just had earnings, some of that premium has come out. But love this one for higher, especially over the weekend. There's probably gonna be articles written around AI and NVIDIA earnings and Dell, and HBQ is one of those outlier names that I don't think a lot of people talk about that probably gets a lot more exposure over the weekend. So still like HBQ here. Not adding anything more just yet. Gonna sit on my hands, but don't be surprised if I do at some point. Roku, disappointing session today, and that's after yesterday. Well, the past 3 sessions been a roller coaster, right? We had the big move up last week on Friday on that Guggenheim upgrade. Monday, stock held its ground. Tuesday held its ground. Looked like it was going to break 70. It didn't do it for 3 sessions in a row, and then Wednesday, sure enough, what happens? The stock sells off. No big catalyst, just a sympathy move with the market. Then yesterday rallies, recoups most of those losses, and then today just a repeat. And some of it, supposedly, there's rumors out that TTD, which the Trade Desk, which is one of those platforms that partners advertisers with consumers and companies to tailor ad spend to get the best return on their investment. Supposedly, they're coming out with some kind of content platform, TV, whatever, to compete with Google. YouTube TV, Fubo, Roku TV obviously is front and center. I maybe that's some of the reason it sold off. There was no news I could see, and then the stock reversed course, so all the way down into the I think it broke 60, 63.83, and then bounced. It traded all the way up, almost back to 68. Great sign. I think if the fact that buyers came in, that's a good sign. Not going to add anything more just yet. Just going to hold the last of my September strikes. I posted in the chat room before. I keep looking for turn October strikes, and I'm looking at the premiums, and then I start looking at the risk reward, and then I'm looking at my September strikes, and then it's not like even if they announce data next week, there's still especially if it's positive data, if there's no adverse effects or what have you, and the stock trades up into the 15s and 20s, I'll still make some nice coin on the September strikes, and then I look at the stock, and it almost seems like folks are playing games into the data. So I'll probably just hold on to my September strikes now. I'll wait maybe first or second week in September and then start to look for some October strikes if there's no data out. You know my thoughts on turn. The big piece of that's going to be the adverse effects. They announced on their earnings that no one dropped out of the study, the phase 1 study, which I think is a good sign. So I have to think it's going to trade higher after data. So not going to add anything more just yet. I'll probably wait till next week or the week after. Knock on wood, I'm not going to talk about VKTX too much either, but one of these weekends, and it's a long holiday weekend, there's going to be some kind of M&A coming out the Tuesday. Well, it'll be Tuesday, the first day of the week. It seems like, and there's been some M&A this year, but not a lot, and especially typically there's some big M&A in the biotech sector because it's one of the most speculative sectors, especially when you have these companies that still have pipelines that companies just betting on them, that they're going to come to market, and then these big mega cap bio names, which have lots of cash, can help expedite the marketing and bringing those drugs to market. So just surprised there has been more M&A in the biotech space. One of these weekends, there'll be some acquisition, whether it be Altimmune, GPCR, Obviously, VKTX, Turn, one of those names is going to get acquired. I think that's about it. Disappointing with Redfin. What are you going to do? I mean, it's I said it this morning on the morning rant. I mean, stock was six and change a couple weeks ago. So to see a pullback is not unexpected, but it's disappointing. Still think that trades up near 15. I'm not going to sit here and add calls to try and catch a falling knife. So I'll just continue to hold what I have there. Made some nice coin on Friday. ENVX. I keep looking to get some inexpensive puts to play for downside. The stock's down like six sessions in a row. Tough to see the risk reward. Even if it gets to 850 next week, then it's like I looked at my September $9 puts and they're in the red despite the stock selling off over $1 from my entry, or more than $1, $2 from my entry. Of course, the time factor plays into that as well, but there was just too much premium in those puts to make money. So even though I have a negative bias on the name and I think it's going to trade lower, it's unless I'm actually short the name, which opens you up to crazy stuff. So it's not typically, I trade options to take that possibility out, right? When I get in puts, my risk is finite, right? My risk is defined. When you short a stock, your risk is infinite. Someone could buy them out for $200 a share. I mean, I'm making that up, but then you crazy stuff. So that's why I trade options. That's typically when I look at names, especially speculative in nature, to try and trade for downside in ENVX. I would look for puts, but I keep looking. I was watching yesterday near the end of the day. I was looking for some September 8s and October strikes. Just the premiums are too much right now to find a decent risk reward. So maybe next week. I think that's it. Everybody enjoy your weekend. A couple people have messaged me. I'm gonna have an update this weekend on the 2K challenge. It's been a while. I had that on pause. Very frustrating. Back in the winter, I made like 3 or 4 trades. 2 of them went great. I had Cardlytics calls. A couple weeks later, those were 1,000 bags, but I sold them. I had Baidu strikes. I was looking. I sold those. Those went up like 500, 1,000%. I had W calls that I was looking to get. I went the other direction, passed on those. Those went up 500, 1,000%. So it got very frustrating. And then when I do that, sometimes it takes emotion out of me. So I can tend to trade with a little bit more emotion than I want to. So I kind of pulled back. And not only that, I don't want to impact my normal day-to-day trades. So I'm hoping I can do I can update this over the weekend, and maybe I'll start to get back into September. You have to think volume, volatility, opportunities are going to be more prevalent in September as the funds come back, more things, and then we have the Fed. There's going to be a lot more events, and then repositioning at the end of the year. I think there's going to be more opportunities. So I'll probably I'll send an update out this weekend. Anyway, that's it, folks. Have a great weekend. Rock and roll.